Happiness may seem frivolous, but the gloom of a terrible pandemic has reawakened my country to how vital happiness is.
So as to achieve happiness!
As a Singaporean and an entertainer, happiness is my business and my passion. I want to uncover the secrets to being happy in any circumstance. Join me on my journey to achieve happiness.
As a Singaporean, I grew up reciting the national pledge in school. And the pledge finishes with this phrase: so as to achieve happiness, prosperity, and progress for our nation. I didn't give it much thought when I was in school, but what exactly is this happiness that we pledge to achieve? When the pledge was written in the 1960s, poverty was rampant in Singapore. This part of the city once overflowed with vice, crime, and disease. Many Singaporeans were hungry for food, jobs, and safety. So for our forefathers, happiness was about survival.
The English word happiness is rooted in the Old Norse word hap, which means luck or fortune. Happiness can describe feeling lucky and fortunate. A pledge to achieve happiness could be a commitment to improve the fortunes of the nation. Why do we imagine wealth will make us happy? It stems from a primal instinct.
Scientists say that humans evolved to survive and thrive as hunter-gatherers.
So happiness and pleasure evolved as sensations to reward us when we do something that helps our survival or reproduction. For instance, having an orgasm with a partner is about as close as you can get to reproducing as possible, so it should feel good. Ingesting something that is nutritious or healthy, it's good for you, that gives you energy, and so that should probably feel good. So we're constantly seeking our next pleasure. We don't feel happy for life.
The pleasure of consuming goods and services. Economists call it utility. The economy produces things with utility, and we consume it. So you could say the material world runs on pleasure and happiness.
Our utilitarian society seeks happiness by manufacturing pleasure and penalizing pain.
For example, in Singapore, you can get fined and punished for urinating in lifts and everything else you see on this t-shirt. It's for the greater good.
The greater good once involved getting rich. In the mid-20th century, Singapore's economy grew fast, and many Singaporeans prospered, going from rags to riches in a generation. From 1984 till the end of the century, Singapore sought to match Switzerland's high standard of living. And it did. People were wealthier, but were they happier? At the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School, Dr. Matt Killingsworth has extensively studied the connection between income and happiness.
What I found was that as people earned more money, they were both more satisfied with life and had a higher level of sort of momentary happiness. By far the biggest reason is that as people earned more money, they felt a greater sense of control over their life. The second biggest factor is that as people earned more money, they basically needed to worry less about their financial situation.
With a country like mine, Singapore, what effect would this explosion in material wealth have had on the happiness of Singapore?
Well, there's only a modest relationship between income and happiness. So if we could hold everything else constant, the prediction from the data is that if income goes way up, happiness will go up a bit. The trick is, in reality, we're not holding everything else constant. So if people are just focused on like positional goods and sort of out-earning their neighbors or something, you might sort of undercut the benefits that a higher income could otherwise deliver. When people defined their personal worth in terms of their incomes, they actually tended to be less happy.
An international study found that where people think they stand on the socioeconomic ladder compared to others affects people's happiness more than their actual wealth. And the effect of social comparison was highest in countries with high population density like Singapore.
Life is really competitive. Envy is totally normal, but it's what you do with the envy.
Envy can lead to a fear of missing out that Singaporeans call kiasu. It drives the Singaporean dream.
So I played the Singaporean dream with some of my best friends. We had Hirzi, Shaza, and Yana, who are all equally competitive. Objective of the game is to gain as many dream cards as possible. Sometimes take action. They're all things that we grew up thinking that we need to get, you know, like getting a house, getting a car, retiring by a certain time. Whether or not it makes them truly happy, I don't think so. It's just a never-ending cycle of wanting to gain more and more and more.
If you have some bad luck, you can lose everything. Just like this.
Some of the stuff like traveling and you know, being out there, gathering with people, those are the things that make me happy. And honestly, without money, can I do a lot of those things?
Almost everything is material, so I would hope that I'm not that basic. I do think that money brings you happiness, but there is a limit to how much happiness it can bring.
So I have 4 more moves.
Hey, she owes me a dream right there.
Oh yeah, take it.
Money is a modest contributor, and it's one of many. It's not going to guarantee happiness.
If our happiness can't be quantified in dollars, how exactly is happiness measured?
Am I satisfied with my life? I guess I would say agree.
Psychologists measure our happiness with surveys of our subjective well-being.
Oh my God. How satisfied were you with your life in the past week? Oh, who is this person asking me all these questions?
At the Singapore Management University, I meet the creator of that subjective well-being test. Dr. William Tov is a leading researcher in happiness and positive psychology.
I am only human, and how accurately can I report my well-being or happiness levels?
These measures are not perfect, but there's a lot of research showing that these self-reports are valid. It can be very difficult to just think about your whole life and whether you're satisfied with it. So we think that, you know, sampling more days improves that reliability, so we get a more accurate measure. Surveying more people can be important as well. If the question is, well, we want to know how happy people in this country are, might need over 1,000 people.
I took part in the subjective well-being research. What exactly is subjective well-being?
Right, so subjective well-being is this concept highlighting different aspects of happiness. So the first part of subjective well-being is life satisfaction. You are thinking about your life as a whole, and you are deciding, is this the kind of life that I want to have, and how satisfied I am with that life? But the other components of subjective well-being are positive emotions, just feeling happy, grateful, feeling love. And then the third part is negative emotions. So feeling unhappy, feeling stressed, depressed, anxiety. There's not really one way, one single indicator to measure happiness. Happiness is not one thing. There's a lot of different aspects. And once you realize that, then the question of like, you know, how do we make people happy is actually a very complicated one.
Based on studies of subjective well-being and other factors, this is the world's happiest country. Finland has topped the World Happiness Report for 5 years straight, from 2017 till 2022.
We cannot make them happy, but we can help them avoiding to be unhappy. If they are unemployed, if they are sick, if they have lost somebody who is close to them, and in some other such kind of situations.
From speaking with local experts, I gather that Finland's excellent welfare system elevates their happiness. When asked to rate their satisfaction with life, Finns on average gave it a 7.9 out of 10. Their welfare system is fueled by good governance, a strong economy, and high taxes. To understand Finland's tax system, I speak with the former CEO of its state pension fund.
The taxation of earned income is rather steeply progressive, starting from 0, going up to 60% for high earners.
Yeah, and how happy are people in Finland to pay their income taxes?
Well, I think Finns are perhaps surprisingly okay with these relatively high taxes. I think it's partly because of what people think what the tax money is being used for, free education, including universities, an array of social transfers of different kinds. Finns seem to be quite egalitarian in their values, in spite of the fact that by international comparison, our income distribution is very equal. Still, people want it to be even more equal.
Each dollar matters less as you earn more, and part of what taxes allow us to do is essentially, if we take 20% of the income of everyone, we end up getting a lot more dollars from people who earn really high incomes. And in a sense, we could think about using that money to try to benefit everybody, and it's going to sort of disproportionately benefit the people who have less. And in that sense, I think we would expect a higher level of well-being in society as a whole when we're able to sort of capture tax revenue from the overall population and use it to improve lives for everyone.
Nice.
In an experiment, we found that giving money to charity raised people's happiness regardless of whether they were forced to donate or gave voluntarily. These results echo the findings of research in universities in America.
Funnily enough, giving money to other people seems to have a higher payoff than spending money on yourself.
When a winner takes it all, happiness is limited. Sharing our wealth brings greater happiness. Since the dawn of humankind, people have worked. Work gave us a way to survive and find job satisfaction and happiness. But our jobs introduced us to work stress.
Tapi kita juga punya rasa sedihnya juga di saat kalau memang betul-betul tidak ada gitu. Ikan udah nggak ada, terus cuacanya juga buruk. Bikin kayak kita itu bingung.
Yeah.
Mau apa sekarang? Kayak pengen berhenti gitu, nggak mau jadi nelayan lagi.
Wayan also said to me privately that he's like, sometimes I'm so angry, I'm like scolding the ocean to himself on the boat. And he's like, but you know what? It's normal. It's common. You need to understand that there are always struggles. Kamu ada nasihat tak untuk jadi nelayan yang terbaik?
Kita harus sabar, optimis ya, jaga badan.
Optimis, kesabaran, dan kekuatan. Okay.
Learning to stay positive and happy at work has long been a vital skill.
To achieve happiness, countries try to keep their people productive and employed. Employment levels in Singapore have returned to what they were before the pandemic, but are Singapore's workers happy? According to Mercer's Global Talent Trend Study, employee energy levels are at an all-time low, and Singapore has the most de-energized workforce in Asia. 1 in 2 Singaporeans intend to leave their jobs, and 85% of Singapore employees expect to experience burnout this year.
First of all, I think that's a very sad statistic. Burnout is a serious issue, right? People are really suffering, The workload is increasing, and a lot of employers just expect their employees to be always available, and always ready to work. So then when do you have time to recover?
Leila Parmentier is from France, and she says Singapore's work culture is more competitive. Striving to be a top performer at her financial job while studying for a diploma led her to burnout.
I was really drained because I didn't have much time for myself, and I reached a point where I was feeling very exhausted and mentally and physically not so well. I remember collapsing on the floor and just crying. I couldn't take it anymore. There was too much pressure, too much tension, too much stress.
Listening to Leila, the kind of anxiety that she felt, I just wanted to hold her and I understand, you know? It's really scary to burn out. This is coming from me experiencing burnout myself too, and that I used to push myself, and I think that was the right thing to do, but it's not, you know? It really affects you, it affects the people around you.
To cope better at work, Leila has learned to practice an evidence-based meditation therapy, mindfulness-based stress reduction.
One of the things that mindfulness teaches you is awareness of yourself. One time even where I was at work and I had that kind of panic moment where I could literally feel my hands were sweating, and I realized that actually my minds were racing with negative thoughts. But the difference is that I was actually aware that this was happening, and actually I went to the toilet to calm myself down rather than letting it escalate.
Leila now teaches mindfulness-based stress reduction as an instructor with the Mindfulness Initiative at the Singapore Management University.
There was still a bit of a stigma or a stereotype about mindfulness being something that's very religious or new agey. Through the research, we have gotten much more legitimacy and acceptance and also understanding of mindfulness as something everybody can practice.
Their newer mindfulness course incorporates management disciplines and positive psychology.
With positive psychology, there's this element of looking for happiness, flourishing, because when they achieve their goals and their outcomes, that's when they're happy.
Mental wellness at work has become a major concern, especially after the pandemic. To support the happiness and mental wellness of employees, companies have turned to wellness consultants.
Ready and go. Circle. Ta-da. Ta-da.
With conductor size, you have music, right? So music has been shown to help our brain improve moods, right? You have blood flow because of the movement, and all that creates a happy hormones that's going to revolve in your head, right?
As wide as you can.
But at the same time, on a more serious note, in conductor size, we give people a chance for self-reflection. So to meditate in your heart, tell to yourself, I am strong. Repeat it internally, I am strong. Our clients are mostly large SMEs, multinational global companies, as well as healthcare institutions, government agencies in Singapore. Over the last 15 years, we have built lots of interactive experiential workshops.
Okay, and how are they designed to boost happiness?
Yep, so if you look at the hidden message card, right, it is built on psychology. They are able to reflect, think, who and what they are grateful for, write it in, and give it to somebody else. So that action, right, causes the connection, and that's evidence-based to help someone improve their overall well-being in the longer run.
Thank you for being you. You make my days brighter. Oh, thank you. There's more. Oh, is there? Yeah.
Having a workplace that's supportive and positive is good, but it's not enough. For people to be happily engaged at work, they need work that's meaningful.
Actually, companies can do good on many levels.
I meet Lin Sufei at the National Volunteer and Philanthropy Centre. She's the deputy head of the Company of Good. Her organization encourages companies to do good and fulfill a higher purpose.
In Oxford, Professor Colin Mayer coined corporate purpose as producing profitable solutions to the problems of people and planet. And today, we actually see that it's an opportunity for a reset, to reimagine and reframe the way business is done.
For example, in April 2022, Singpost announced their corporate purpose would be making every delivery count for people and planet. The company aims to achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2030.
So employees generally feel a sense of fulfillment if they feel that what they're doing matters to people and planet, which are the two most pressing challenges today, inequality and climate change. Then staff feel engaged, and it goes beyond any monetary compensation. And so in the long run, companies also can actually retain talent better.
You know, when I first started out, it was always just about, chasing the money, being stable. But I found that after a while, it just becomes stagnant.
You also want to feel that you can connect your soul with your role, and that will actually lead to better work and the employee delivering his best work in the company.
Dr. William Tov has studied how the pleasure of everyday meaning can come from two different dimensions of well-being, hedonic and eudaimonic.
Hedonic well-being is really like our emotions, our feelings, and life satisfaction. Eudaimonic well-being has to do with whether we're living up to our potential. Do you have a sense of purpose in life? Is what you're doing with your life worthwhile? Very often, we choose to do things that don't necessarily make us happy, but if something is meaningful and worthwhile, we're going to be more likely to stick with it and to sort of, see things through.
Okay, so with my work, I also am a theatre actor, and I feel like with rehearsals and with being involved in creating the show, it feels very fulfilling, especially when you finally perform live, You're immersed in this new world that you're creating. It's exciting, It feels like you're a different person. How would psychologists describe that state of mind?
That sounds very much like the state of flow. Csikszentmihalyi pioneered the research on flow. He argued that for us to be in a state of flow, that activity, it has to be something that we have the skills to do. But the activity also has to be challenging. When you're in that state, you're just completely focused on what you're doing. And it's not clear that you necessarily enjoy it so much in that moment, but after, when you reflect on it, it feels really good.
And I actually find that no matter what people are doing, no matter how unpleasant it is, the more deeply you can just engage in the present moment with whatever that is, the higher your happiness will be. But also, we're able to be more engaged when we enjoy things more to begin with.
But if we focus too much on work, we may lose the plot and ourselves performing our roles.
All the world's a stage, and all the men and women, merely players.
How can we rediscover ourselves and find happiness at rest?
Singapore is a global city where many work late connecting with people and markets abroad. Our top professionals tend to work long hours, and for some, being busy is like a badge of honor. Should we be proud to live in a city that never sleeps? Singapore is one of the most fatigued and sleep-deprived countries in the world. Surely that affects our happiness.
At the Yonglulin School of Medicine, the Center for Sleep and Cognition studies how sleep affects our health and well-being. I've gone a night without sleep so that scientists can measure how sleep deprivation affects me.
So actually, most people, when they've gone without sleep, you would see more of these very slow reaction times that were more than 500 milliseconds.
Yeah.
But that doesn't seem to be the case for you. I think the science suggests that it's something that's genetic.
My father doesn't sleep also. Maybe
that could be why.
I am used to lasting maybe a night without sleep or 2 nights. But with my subjective well-being, I left the house feeling like quite irritable, like every little thing kind of like, and I do feel very tired, very low energy.
Sleep and mental health and mental well-being are very closely tied together. So having insufficient sleep or poor quality sleep is very strongly associated with, for example, developing depression or other kinds of mental disorders. And of course, we know that if we don't sleep well, we generally don't feel in a very good mood the following day.
And how much sleep should I get if I want to maximize my happiness and well-being?
So that's going to vary for everyone, but the National Sleep Foundation in America does recommend 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night for the majority of adults.
How much sleep do Singaporeans get on an average?
Generally, Singaporeans seem to sleep about 6 to 7 hours a night, and we are still among the shortest sleepers in the world. So I think one of the reasons is that we are one of the most highly stressed people in the world. And in addition to that, people work very long hours and students study very long hours. And because of that, something's got to give, and that something is often the time we spend in bed.
Singapore is one of the most overworked countries in Asia, and its average working hours per week are among the longest in the world.
They will save the time for the family.
In 2004, the civil service set an example for Singaporeans' work-life balance by shortening their work week from 5.5 days to 5.
So the civil service will go to a 5-day week.
But where many Singaporeans go on weekends isn't restful. A Saturday spent in a crowd adds to our stress.
Singapore is one of the most densely populated countries in the world, and in all of Singapore, this is one of the most densely populated areas. This is my family's hometown, Tampines. Hello, Norman. Welcome to Tampines. How do you like it here?
Well, I'm feeling okay. It's a little hot today. How about you?
I try my best to avoid crowds. I just feel very overwhelmed a little bit right now. Do you think that's something evolutionary psychology can explain?
Absolutely, yeah. Having this many people around is kind of unnatural for all of our human evolutionary history. We didn't have that many people. So when we're around crowds, it makes us feel stressed because it's a lot of competition for limited resources. And also, if we don't know the people, they could be harmful, they could be enemies, they could be threatening. In fact, my research shows that there is a negative correlation between population density and happiness. The more population dense the place is, the less happy the people are.
As much as Singaporeans need to rediscover Singapore, they also need to rediscover rest.
Rest and recreation keeps evolving, and what's trending now is wellness. In response to the pandemic, people are paying more attention to their well-being. Iconic attractions across Singapore have been holding a wellness festival. And here on Sentosa, visitors can find their moment of Zen at the Zentosa Fest. Through over 50 types of wellness offerings, visitors can rediscover what it means to play well, eat well, and rest well.
Surprisingly, I got into quite a flow even with painting, which is something that I was so uncomfortable with, right? And it really just proves that if you let your guards down a little bit, things can be fun. You can find joy in even the simplest things. I found peace in it. I enjoy Sentosa, but when I really want to escape stressful Singapore, I go on vacation overseas.
Bali is my happy place. I'm here to find happiness.
Bali has become a hotspot for wellness getaways. You can meditate in the shadow of an active volcano, Mount Agung. Or you can take a walk in nature to catch your breath. The breathtaking landscape inspires wonder and awe.
Every single time I just stop to appreciate everything around me, the vastness of nature, you know? And I feel so small in this giant world. It's quite humbling. I'm in Bali because this is usually where I go to for scuba diving. After 2 years of not being able to do it, coming back here feels like coming back home again.
Hey! Welcome to Tulamban, Bali.
Gopal is my diving instructor. He's a Singaporean media producer who helps run a dive shop in a resort in Bali.
I work hard in Singapore half the time, and half the time I want to make my life meaningful. I do have dreams, I do have ambitions, I do want to succeed, but at the same time, Bali works as the counterbalance.
You are basically my dream because I want to be a dive instructor and I want to run my own dive shop someday. There's something about scuba diving that is just so beautiful, right?
Yeah, scuba diving, you know, especially when you get underwater, you have a huge impact on your physiological and psychological self. Being in an alien environment, being weightless, there's this white noise, right? It almost gives you a moment to think.
We went to the Liberty Wreck, and it's always intimidating at first to go into this whole new world. There's so much life going on. The highlight of the day was the sea turtle that swam towards us and was like, "Hey guys, how you doing? What's going on?" And we followed it for a while, swam with it. It's nice. I feel like everything is just in harmony, and you are joining that harmony, and everything makes sense in the water. It's true magic to me.
Diving has always been spiritual to me. It's magical because you're surrounded by all this marine life. And you realize you're significant and insignificant at the same time. Right? You're just part of the big theater, right?
Yeah. It just feels like I found my peace again. Like, I think the last 2 years it's been like things screaming in my head. But then finally, when I got in the water, I was like, this was my escape. This was what made me want to do better when I go back.
Back in Singapore, I meet Dr. Roman Carrasco. He's an environmental researcher who studies how nature affects our well-being and happiness.
As humans, we have this innate need to connect with nature. And I think that's very powerful to calm us down and to restore us. We went to social media and we collected 30,000 photos around the world. What we found is that nature did play a role in those very important moments of our life and was associated to people that were having fun. Is some part of nature that makes us who we are.
I understand you've studied how views from a window affect people's life satisfaction in Singapore. So can you tell me how you carried out that study and what you found?
We surveyed 1,200 people in Singapore across the whole island. And we found a very clear signal for having nature views within 500 meters from work and home and their life satisfaction. That contributed around 7 to 10% of the life satisfaction that they had. We spend many hours by the window, even though we might not be actively looking. We get all this passive nature dose through the window. The other thing that is very meaningful in Singapore is that it's very equitable, the access to nature. If we go to other cities, like in the US, in Europe, it's not equitable. You will have poor neighborhoods with very little green spaces, and then rich neighborhoods with a lot of green spaces. That's not like that here. Everybody has a fair share of nature.
I didn't think to appreciate the efforts that Singapore puts in to make sure that we keep our nature or we keep being green. You don't even need to run away so far. It's right there under your nose. There's so much life here. It does make me feel just at peace and calm. And then I can laugh a little bit more. There was a point in my life where I had a cancer scare, and I think that was the point where it really woke me up.
It should be like,
I have started this, fitness journey where I want to take care of my health. It always takes a while for my whole body to wake up, but I have an amazing trainer who understands how I think, how I feel.
One and you have to focus on the bigger picture. Right after a workout, you feel amazing.
So do you believe that, health and fitness, really taking it seriously, that helps to boost happiness?
For sure, and I know that that's the same for all my other clients. You might have the worst day, but sweating it out, getting all those endorphins and feeling great, they feel very accomplished, confident, and they feel like they're able to focus in other aspects of their life.
Physical wellness can strengthen your mental wellness.
Very good.
To help more people get stronger and fitter, Active Health aims to give 500,000 Singapore residents access to health and wellness coaching by the year 2027.
Okay, so as part of the fitness and health assessment, we're going to let you measure your body composition because we know measuring is knowing.
Measuring your weight. I'll be bringing you through the functional movement screen. This test in particular, we're assessing both your mobility and your stability. So you have pretty good balance. You are moving through in a very stable manner.
What we want to do through all these assessments is to get everyone more objective data points and results to work towards achieving or improving on them.
So is this a good score? It's not 100.
You're in the good category, so don't beat yourself up, okay? Your body composition is in quite an athletic type. Having enough muscle mass, to carry your weight, to go out and spend time with your loved ones, that will really help to boost one's happiness and wellness as well.
Being able to be physically active, being independent to perform activities that you enjoy, I think that can help one to manage their well-being as well. So what we want to do is to walk alongside with the public members to achieve their health and fitness goals.
150 to 300 minutes of moderately intense activity is recommended. But Active Health says only about 1 in 4 Singaporeans are physically active 3 days per week. In Finland, the world's happiest country, its citizens are among the most active in the world. Over half of its adults get at least an hour of moderately intense physical activity per day. Swimming is a popular exercise.
So this is a fantastic way to exercise, meet friends, live the active life. So we have customers who come here every day. And some take the sauna, some not. Yeah, this is a very important part of their daily or weekly routines.
Finland has made exercise a habit through decades of health and fitness promotion. In Singapore, we've long been told to make time for exercise. But why doesn't the message always move us into action? Dr. Benedict Tan has some answers. He's the lead advisor to the committee that sets Singapore's physical activity guidelines.
In the past, it was a very prescriptive approach, right? So, doing this is healthy, therefore you must do this. And they might have heard it so many times, they've closed their ears to it. If you ask people who exercise regularly, the health is by the way. Incidentally, they're healthy. They play football not because they want to be healthy, because they enjoy it, right? And because they enjoy it, by the way, they're healthy. And with this approach, it tends to be very, very sustainable.
This Ultimate Frisbee group says they're motivated to play and train because of their love of the sport and their fondness of each other.
People are actually excited to be here and it's so fun. Then when people cheer for you when you do something good, it's like the feels.
I actually feel quite motivated because I really love Frisbee. Because we get to see all the greenery around us, a lot of space, we feel quite free.
That's your third too.
Frisbee for me is my escape in many ways. Yeah, it helps me to de-stress.
I had so much fun, surprisingly. There is a little bit of intimidation coming into a team where they've already bonded, but I felt so comfortable and it was very welcoming. And we won our first game, so that motivated me a lot.
We are responsible for encouraging our friends to live more healthily, to be more physically active. So for example, if we say, oh, let's get together, why must it be to get together over food? Why can't we have a game of tennis together? Why can't we go for a run together? Peer support is important.
I feel like if I do work out with friends, I definitely feel more motivated. And that's exactly why my trainer is a very good friend of mine.
Health is wealth.
Health is wealth.
According to the National Population Health Survey in 2020, people in Singapore are becoming less healthy. There's a rising number of people living with chronic diseases like hypertension, diabetes, and cancer.
I was just about to turn 30s and I found out that I had lumps in my left breast. And that was so scary because I feel like you never thought it would happen to you until it does. When I spoke to my friends about my experiences, they had that same lack of knowledge about, what it means, what to do.
When a disease strikes, it helps to find support from people who know what it's like and to dance away the blues. Members of the Singapore Cancer Society organized this dance group called Be Hype and Be Happy.
Entering that room, you won't be able to tell that some of these ladies have fought cancer or some of them are still battling with cancer. Everyone was so encouraging. You just can't help but smile, laugh, and join in on the fun,
We actually encourage each other on. We tell each other we can move on. Let me show you this painting. It says "Kan earn gratitude."
Madam Teo Hui Ling is a retired chemistry teacher who was diagnosed with cancer in 2006. She says going through cancer treatments affected her mental health.
If you're not healthy, it's very hard to be happy, Surgery, chemotherapy, along the way, there were little hiccups. I actually had 2 surgeries within 2 weeks, So things don't go as smoothly as it seemed. And then I actually went into something called a depression. Actually, chemotherapy affects your mind, I began to doubt myself. And fortunately, I had friends who noticed I was not quite right. Then they recommend medical social worker as well as I pay a private psychologist. So I find by getting professional help, it helps a lot. And somehow I got out of it. But it's a process. If you don't seek help, you go further down,
After overcoming depression and cancer, Madam Teo does what makes her happy. She travels, exercises, and takes on new challenges like joining a beauty contest and painting.
I tell myself, nothing to lose. We have lots of hidden talent.
Do you think happiness helps to improve your immunity, improve your health?
I think it does, Let's say when I'm down, I believe I catch cold and runny nose more often. But when I'm up and about, when I'm happy, I believe my immunity also improves.
Happiness could boost our immune system. In a study by Carnegie Mellon University, over 300 volunteers were introduced to viruses that cause the common cold. People with less positive emotions were 3 times more likely to catch a cold. They also blew their noses into more tissues. Another study found that people with more hope and optimism were more likely to follow medical advice, and this improved their health.
If you get a lump, don't deny. I believe there's always hope. If not, then die graciously. It means that you have lived your life. I will tell myself, I've done so many things now. I'm ticking off my bucket list one at a time.
Seeing her resilience to just keep
crawling back out to find joy in her life. That's really inspiring because, like the other ladies that I met at Be Hype, Be Happy, nothing's gonna keep them down.
It made us shameless, no?
Hey, the shameless is the best. I think in life you must be shameless. Yeah. I've picked up so many tips and understanding of what makes people happy, and it gave me a lot of hope and faith that it is possible to keep finding that happiness. What I would love to explore with happiness is how much you can share it. In my next happiness journey, I'll explore how relationships and community affect our happiness. Galungan really showed me that community spirit is unbreakable.
Saya bahagia karena saya udah memiliki keluarga.
And they live happily ever after. So is that just a fairy tale?
Social relationships contribute to so many different aspects of well-being. Not only makes us happy, but also contributes to our growth. And you put them together, and that means flourishing.